Hi 104, this is week 15 and we're going to work on putting those 4 chords now into lead sheets that are in between pages 147 and 149. So I want to look at English folk song and 147 together. So let's work through this one step by step. So I'm looking at a lead sheet, which means that I've been given that right hand melody, but instead of the left hand being written out, I'm being given those chord symbols or that tablature. So we can read it by letter name or root of the chord, or we've also found that we could put these in Roman numerals. D being 1, looking at that first letter, G being 4, A being 5. I know that because I've looked at my key signature and I figured out that tonic is D based on those 2 sharps. If this is my pattern, tonic, D, E, F sharp, G, A. D is the first note of the hand position, so that would be a 1 chord. G is the 4th note of the position, so that would be a 4 chord. A is the 5th note of the position, so that would be a 5 chord. So sometimes that helps people visually to see that written out. So the first thing I would do then would be to take my left hand and to build that position and find those chords. So remember, my 1 chord is always going to be bottom, middle, top. This new 4 chord we've been working on, we said that the bottom stays the same. We have a finger 2 in the middle, and the thumb goes up a whole step. When I'm going to that 5-7 chord, from your 1 chord, it was the top that stayed the same, 2 in the middle, and the bottom dropped a half step. So taking your left hand and building a D position, tonic, whole, whole, half, whole. My 1 chord, going to my 4, stay, play, up a whole step, back to 1, going to my 5-7, from the top, stay, play, drop half a step. So there's my 3 chords that I need for English folk song. So now I'm going to take a look at the piece, and if you prefer to read Roman numeral rather than the tablature or the letter name, write it in, simply like what I did. But take your left hand and practice going through each measure, looking at what chord you're being asked to use for harmony. So a D or a 1, G or a 4, D or a 1, a 7 or a 5-7, D or a 1, G and a 4, D and a 1, A is a 5-7, and D is a 1. Your book is showing you some fancy left hands that you can do, and you're welcome to try putting them into a different rhythm pattern if you want, but I'm happy to have you just play them in a blocked chord fashion is what I did. So I was just simply playing this 1 chord as a whole note, holding it the full measure. You don't have to do it in what's called a broken bass. But if you'd like the challenge, they give you some suggestions of some fancier ways you could do those chords. Once you've got your chords figured out, now it's time to learn that melody. So remember, I'm in the key of D, so my melody is also going to be in D. But I caution you to look at this fingering because they have it set up a little bit different. Finger 2 on an F sharp. That doesn't put me in a tonic of D, does it? So they're saying that you probably would be more comfortable with your thumb on E, 2 on F sharp, G, A, B. I'm certainly not doing tonic, whole, whole, half, whole. That would spell an E tonic. So this is in the key of D. They're just saying that you might be more comfortable with a 2 there because we have to reach up to a B here. That gives my melody this shape. So remember, as we have found our melodies expanding more coverage of the keyboard, they might not always lay in that tonic position. Once you have that melody learned, you're then going to incorporate that harmony in. And again, as I said, you can do those just as blocked chords. You have 4 more pieces here that you're going to follow that same strategy. So looking at Creole song, I've got 1 flat, which puts me in the key of F. So the first thing I probably would do would be perhaps to write out my position and then count off and go, okay, there's my 1 chord, 1, 2, 3, that's going to be my 4 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's going to be my 5 chord. So if I prefer to read Roman numerals, I probably would go through here then and change these. If you are comfortable reading tablature, that's fine, you can read those letter names. So then I'm going to set up my F scale or F5 finger position, tonic, whole, whole, half, whole. And then I'm going to find my 3 chords. 1, going to my 4, bottom stays, 2 plays, thumb up a whole step. Back to 1, to go to my 5, 7, thumb stays, 2 plays, 5th finger down a half step. Then I would go through and practice playing them in the order I'm being asked to harmonize. 1, 1, 4, 1, 1, 1, 5, 7, 1. I would then get ready with my melody, setting up in tonic, whole, whole, half, whole. My starting note is an A with finger 3. It does line up in tonic. So 3, skip, skip, skip. Now look right here. It looks like a skip down, but instead of going to my 3, it has all of a sudden a thumb. That's a good signal for you to take a look and say, ah, I'm going to have to move that hand. So maybe you want to mark it here, maybe you want to put move, maybe you want to circle the thumb, but notice that you're going to have to move out of position to extend up to that high F. All of a sudden I get that 3 back on an A. I'm going to pick up my hand and then I'm back in that F position. So again, just like we've seen in some of our other pieces, think of 3 Blind Mice in particular, moving around for that hand position. So Little Brown Jug, same thing, key of C. Figure out what your chords are. Turn them into Roman numerals if you prefer. I'll give you a heads up on this one as well. It doesn't lay in C position. And when you get a finger 2, all of a sudden here in measure 3, take a look at it because I bet it moves. Familiar melody there. Again, block chords are fine on this. You don't have to do a fancy waltz bass or a syncopated second beat bass. Blocked half notes work just fine. You've got a couple more challenging ones on 149. If you'd like to take a look at those, you're welcome to. British Melody, a key of F. You already went through those chords. It's a little bit more movement in the right hand. Again, the hand is moving out of position, so make sure you watch on that. And with a roving, watch your melody range. Make sure that you're in the right register. And you've got chords in G this time. So 4 chords, putting them into lead sheets. And this will be on that last exam, your choice of any one of these lead sheets. We'll be working on them on your assigned day of class as well. So pick out your favorite so that we can perfect it and get it ready.